Testing 321, 321, testing 321, 321. Good morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams, live from the Coast TV Weather Center. Right now, we are tracking a snowstorm that's prompted the latest winter weather advisory that's in full effect in our immediate area. What we're going to do right now, we're going to take a live picture of what's happening, take a look at what's happening with our radar, talk about the snow event, how much snow we've received, as well as when we expect for it to come to an end. And by the way, we're looking for this snow to come to an end for Sussex County right around 11:30, just before lunchtime, noon. So we're past the halfway point, and it looks like we're going to start winding down in the next hour and a half or so. And then we're going to talk about the significant cold that will follow immediately behind this snow event. That's likely to cause problems with icing and black ice on the road, as well as dangerously low wind chills. Let's first of all take an overview of what's happening at this point. We're looking at Ocean City, Ocean View, Delaware Bay, and Rehoboth. And we've had the snow begin to fall across the entire state at this point. And as we begin to kind of break this down, we first of all take a look at a live view of Rehoboth Beach. As you can see, the gentleman there walking with his dog right now. We're looking at accumulations that have just started to really register throughout a good portion of Sussex County. The northern portions of the state, we've had an impressive amount of snow that's already fallen, and the snow is still falling right now. But for us, we're looking at the accumulation now beginning to kick in. Here's a live view of Milford, courtesy of our Bay Health camera. Now, the roads have been freezing and refreezing throughout this time frame here, and we've been keeping a close eye on the folks that are working on plowing the roads and working the roads to try to keep them viable throughout the rest of the morning. That's been a bit of a struggle early, but we're looking for the snow to taper off by the time we get closer to 11:30, possibly 12 o'clock is when we're looking for the snow event to end and the cold, dangerous cold to really kick in. Here's a look at Dover. Now, Dover's already had over 1.5 inches, actually approaching 2 inches of snow that's been accumulated thus far, according to the folks with the state. And we're also looking at what's happening in Salisbury. So the streets are still a bit wet. As you can see, the snow is still pushing through in the form of flurries and all of that, and light snow for the most part. But this same moisture that you see on the road, that's where the danger is going to come from as far as what we anticipate by the time this comes to an end. You see in Salisbury, we're looking for it to come to an end about 10:30 going into the 11 o'clock hour. So that's when we're looking for the snow to stop, but then the cold kicks in by then, along with the winds wisping around at an excess of 35 to even 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And now we take a look outside in Laurel, and as you can see, covering the fields and as well as the vegetation there, we have a coating of snow that's staying pretty consistent with the overall forecasting expectation that we've had with our early modeling. Everything's coming to fruition there. Live view of Lewis right now along the water. We're now starting to see some accumulation on some of the docks there in that area, courtesy of our Irish Eyes camera and also our Tunnel and Razor camera. We're also noting that the waves are becoming a little more vibrant and a little stronger as a result of the gale force winds. That's also an addendum to the snow event and the cold that we are primarily concerned about. Now, here's a look at some of the view, just to kind of give you a perspective. This is the northern portions and central portions of the state. Greenville, nearly 6 inches of snow there recorded already. Tally, over 5 inches. Dover had 2 inches of snow. Frederica, nearly 1.5 inches of snow. Now, closer to us, here's what we have in our neck of the woods. Bridgeville, we've now come in at about 1.3, 1 1/3 inches of snow has fallen in Bridgeville. with the updated number. We're getting close to a full inch accumulating and being measured in Seaford as well as Laurel. And now Nassau has kicked in as well with 3/4 of an inch of snow there. A half inch in Ellendale, and we're approaching a half inch in both Lewis as well as Stokely. Both locations now starting to become a little more impressive as far as the accumulation is concerned. This is the latest look at radar. And you can see as we go into, let's say, starting early this morning, 6 o'clock, we had moderate snow shower activity. Now it's beginning to taper off a little bit for us in the Cambridge area, but it's still moving steadily along, and I still expect for it to stick around for at least another hour there. Now we're concentrating over what's happening in immediate Seaford, Laurel, Bryan Storm, and Georgetown. Now, we're still in the thick of it right now, so I anticipate this is still an hour and a half away from expiring as far as starting to get some relief from some of the snow activity that's there. As we widen the scope here, we can see the beginning of the back edge of this snow beginning to give us a little bit of daylight as far as our expectation for getting rid of the first wave of concern, because here's the thing you want to note right here. The back edge of this right here, the back edge of the snow is now beginning to make its way across the Chesapeake Bay area, and it's steadily moving in this direction, and we'll have the majority of the snow that should be out of the way in the next hour and a half to 2 hours if all things continue to travel as they have been. Now, we are still under a winter weather advisory. That's going to stay in effect until 1 o'clock for Sunday. It'll more than likely be allowed to expire right around 12:30 or so, but we still have to watch out for the possibility of additional freezing to occur even after that timeline has come into fruition, because you've got to keep in mind that the refreezing that's going to happen afterwards, the temperatures aren't going to get warmer. They're going to stay below freezing and drop even more so. And that's going to allow for refreezing to occur on several of the roads. And tonight is when it really begins to kick in as far as the refreezing, as well as the dangerous wind chills are concerned. Speaking of the wind chills, here's something I need you to take note of as well. For Ocean Pines and really the entire Delmarva Peninsula, we also have what's called a cold weather advisory. Now, that's when we're talking about dangerously low wind chills that could cause some problems, or possibly even some frostbite if you're exposed for too long. That's the kind of cold that we're dealing with right now on the peninsula as this Arctic front continues to have its way in our neck of the woods. And we have that same concern for the cold weather advisory for James, Cambridge community, Hurlock, Vienna, Seward, Andrews, as well as Taylor Island. A wider view of this kind of showing you that we're looking at just a small amount of precipitation in the form of rain well to our south, represented by the green. Most of it is just good old-fashioned snow and not much in the way of transitional precipitation. Now, the latest model run, I'm looking at perhaps from where we are right now up to about 1:30 is the latest that I ran this model. And so we're looking at maybe 1/3 of an inch of additional snow in Seaford, Georgetown, Ellendale, Milton, Millsboro. We could see about 1/4 of an inch more in Delmar, according to the latest model run with our future snow models. Then also, we're going to switch gears and take a look at what's happening more so with our model run for the beaches. Now, we're starting at 0 right here, about 10:30. So from 10:30 to, say, 1 o'clock at the latest, we could see about 1/3 more in Lewis, Rehoboth, Dewey Beach, about 1/4 of an inch more snow in Bethany Beach, and for Fenwick Island. So that's the amount that we anticipate at this point from where we are right now, live at 10 o'clock, until about, let's say, 1 o'clock, the very latest. In fact, the model run is indicating that we won't see much in the way of snow after about 12:15, 12:20. So, but the amount of precipitation in the form of snow is not looking overwhelming, but we are looking at least 1/3 of an inch of additional snowfall likely to be a part of the mix before the snow totally leaves. So that bodes well with our potential expectation of 1 to 2 inches of snow in the immediate Sussex County area. So that's verified nicely. Now, this is the other side of the coin that we need to talk about before we close out for this morning. Following the snow, we're going to have the winds racing out of the northwest up to even 40 miles per hour with the temperature steadily dropping. Now, that combination is going to set up for dangerously low wind chills. Let me show you what I'm talking about specifically. So we're looking at 40 mile per hour wind gusts, for example, in Dewey Beach. And I'm going to highlight that for you with a marker. There we go. 40 mile per hour winds out of the northwest in Dewey Beach, 39, Fenwick Island, 39. Ocean City, 38 mile per hour wind gusts in Selbyville, and 33, for example, in Georgia, Seaford, and 32 mile per hour wind gusts in Delmar. Well, as we go into the late evening hours, that's not really changing, because by 11:30, as you can see here with the pointer, we're still looking at 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts inland and close to 40 along the coast here. That sets us up for dangerously low wind chills that could propose a hazardous health situation as far as the wind chills are concerned. So for Sunday afternoon, this afternoon at 2 o'clock, we're expecting for the wind chill factor to drop to 11 in Milton, Ellendale, Georgetown, and Seaford, pardon me. And then we'll drop to 12 wind chill factor in Millsboro and Lewis. And then it's going to feel like 14 for the beaches, Rehoboth, Dewey, Bethany, Fenwick, Ocean City, and 14 in Berlin. Now this is at 2:30. Watch what happens here as we go into the 9:30 hour. This is what happens here. We're going to drop down to 3 in Milton, Ellendale, Georgetown, and Millsboro. That's the wind chill factor by 9:30 this evening. It's going to feel like 5 degrees in Lewis, 6 in Rehoboth, Dewey Beach, 5 in Bethany Beach, 5 Fenwick Island, 5 Ocean City, 5 degrees, the wind chill factor in Berlin. That's at 9:30 for Sunday evening, which is why I'm saying this is a two-tier concerned type of an event. At 5:30 in the morning, it doesn't change. We're still in single digits between 3 to 5 for the wind chill factor in our neck of the woods, and then it'll get a little bit better by Monday evening. When I say better, I'm talking about literally feeling like 15 degrees will be better, believe it or not, in our situation. Last but not least, I want to talk about the frost or freeze potential following all this, because this is going to have some residual effects to it as well. You see, when you take a look at the frost potential you see on the right side of me, or the left side of me rather, we're looking at a hard freeze. We're looking not light freeze, but we're looking at a solid hard freeze and beyond the hard freeze according to our forecasting models. All right, that's going to go through Monday, Tuesday, lasting until Wednesday. Now we're going to have a dramatic warm up by Friday, but we've got to get there first and foremost. So that hard freeze means that we have to be mindful of the roads refreezing over and over again, causing concerns for slick roads and black ice along our highways, and particularly for our rural areas and rural roads. So we want you to please be mindful of this. Travel with great deal of caution. Remember, the snow should come to an end about 12 noon for most of us in Sussex County. It shouldn't carry beyond that. But the cold, this cold that you see on the side with the refreezing, that concern will carry on Monday, Tuesday, possibly leaning into Wednesday. So please keep all of that in mind as you are continuing to deal with a lot of the snow shower activity that's moving through our area. We'll take one last courtesy look at what's happening with our radar to show you what's going on with the snow activity that's pushing through. Once again, I don't expect this to last beyond lunchtime because we're already starting to see the backside of this move out of the area. I'm Coast TV Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams with your special report on our snowfall amount. Have a safe, bundled up, and cautious day.